The rising interest rate has certainly been a hot topic in and around the real estate market and something that a lot of people are concerned with, and that is no exception here on Oak Island. So in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly what impact the rising interest rate has had on the local real estate market. I'm Brian Inskip with Surf Homes NC, and this is your October 2023 monthly market real estate update for Oak Island. I'm out here on the beach today enjoying a great October day at 73 degrees. It's a little bit breezy, but still a beautiful day, and I'll take it for a beautiful fall day here at the beach. Back to these market updates and interest rates. The first thing that we always talk about when we do these market updates is where are sales prices at. So even though we've seen a substantial increase in interest rates over the past year, our average sales price on Oak Island has actually risen 3.1%. So the average sales price has actually gone up over the past year. If I look at a little smaller segment of time, looking at the month-over-month trend, average sales price dropped just 0.3%, which is a very nominal change. Since January of 2023, the average sales price has only fluctuated about $1,000 to $2,000 in a given month throughout the entire course of the year. So prices have remained level throughout the year and actually increased over a year ago, despite what's going on with the interest rates, which when you see that interest rate and cost of ownership going up, a lot of times you think that that's going to impact pricing in a negative way. Here on Oak Island, at least at this moment, that has not been the case. The next thing that we look at is new listings. This has dropped dramatically over the past few years. So the number of new listings that hit the market this past month is down 38.2% over the prior year, and actually down 9.1% from the prior month. So a almost 10% drop in a single month is a huge drop in the number of new listings. So that directly affects the number of homes that are available for sale and the inventory, which we'll get to that stat later. Since March this year, new listings has been down 36%. So if you saw my last video, I talked about it felt like the summer market never actually happened on Oak Island, and that's in large part because we never saw the usual number of properties listed for sale that we would normally see. Next up is the number of homes that are actually for sale on the market right now. That has increased 18.6%. So even though we've seen fewer new listings hit the market, we've started to build that inventory where there's 18.6 more homes available on the market at this point in time. That number has been on the decline since March of this year, down 12.4%. And month over month, we saw just a slight variation where we went from 139 active listings down to 134. So a slight decrease over the last month. With pending sales, our year-over-year number is down 33%. That means there's fewer homes under contract, 33% fewer than this time last year. Since July this year, that number's dropped 23.7%. which is a significant number given that that was right in the heat of the summer. That number is usually going to be at a higher level. Month over month, we also dropped 8%, which is another substantial drop in just 1 month time for the number of pending sales. Right in line with that decrease in pending sales numbers is the closed sales numbers, down 35% year over year. If you have less homes going under contract, obviously you're going to have fewer homes closing. Month over month, again, right in line with our new listings and pending sales numbers, that dropped 9% through September, 9.1% to be exact. Since July of this year, that number has dropped on closed sales 22.7%. So again, in that meat of the summer market, we were actually seeing declining sales numbers. Average days on market has been another big change that we've seen throughout the year and over the past year. We're up 74.3% on the average number of days that it takes a property to sell on Oak Island. Our low point over the past few years for average days on market was in 2022. And now we've been steadily creeping up all throughout this year to an average right now of 61 days on market for a property to go under contract and sell on Oak Island. So when we start to pull all these numbers together, it gives us an indicator of how many months of supply we actually have of homes for sale on Oak Island. Year over year, we have increased 58.8% in the number of months of inventory that we currently have on the island. That's just with a 0.1% variance since April of 23. So that number has started to flatten out since about mid-year this year. And that's one that we're going to keep a really close eye on. It's right at its midpoint between the low in 2022 and more historical normal levels of how much supply we carry on Oak Island. The next thing that we always want to talk about is what are homes selling for? So you go on a market at a certain price, there's some negotiating that can happen, and then we get our final sales price. So the next stat we're looking at is the average percent of the last listing price. So the last advertised price of a property versus the price that it actually sells for. Year over year, that number has dropped 1.1%, meaning that on average, sellers are negotiating about a percentage more than they were a year ago, which means buyers are getting about a percentage discount based on the last listing price. Now, if you take that in combination with the increase in average sales prices, which was right around 3%, that still shows sellers on average netting an additional 2%. So properties are actually still selling for more, even though it might take a little longer, and they might be negotiating a little more. If that average listing price is higher to begin with, then you're still netting more money. That list to sell price ratio at 1.1% compared to that 3% increase, that's something to really pay attention to if you're thinking about selling a property, because if you're just looking at the news, it may look like you're seeing price reductions and thinking that properties are selling for less when in fact they're actually selling for more on average. Following right along with the average sales prices on Oak Island is the average price per square foot. So that has actually increased 5.4% year over year. So we are currently sitting at an average price per square foot at $414. That has only changed $1 throughout the course of most of 2023 from $413 a square foot. And what's important to note is even though that has remained relatively flat throughout the course of this year, it's at an all-time high. So properties have never sold for more price per square foot than they are right now on Oak Island. The total volume of closed sales on Oak Island for the year over year, we've seen a decrease of 33%, which makes sense when you look at the pending sales numbers and closed sales numbers. Obviously, if fewer homes are selling, you're going to have less dollars worth of homes selling. That's a 22.5% drop since June of 23, again, tailing off in those key summer months. One of the things that I've definitely noticed over the past year is that each listing is getting fewer showings than it was in past years. And looking at the data, the average showings to an under contract property has actually decreased 50.4%. So even though the property is still going under contract, you've only got about half as many people coming out to take a look. So that's important if you're a seller and you're going on the market. You may have heard about things in the past where 20 to 30 people came and looked at the property in the first weekend. Right now, where the market's at, you might expect about half that. Right in line with that, we've also seen a decrease in the showings per listing. So that has dropped 98% over the past year. I do these monthly market update videos so that you can keep track of what's going on in the market to help you make informed decisions. But the real value in it is what you do with the information here. So let's talk a little strategy. When we look at what's going on in the market, how interest rates are impacting things right now, what does that mean for you if you're thinking of buying or selling a property on Oak Island? On the buying side right now, one of the key indicators is there are sellers out there that are willing to do more negotiating than they were a year ago. So even average sales prices, even though average sales prices are up, there's certainly plenty of circumstances, and I've helped clients go under contract here these last few months where we were able to get a below market value agreement in place on their purchase. So there are sellers out there that are ready and willing to negotiate, and there are deals to be had out there. One of the big concerns for buyers right now is these interest rates are higher than they have been. Well, we're not going back to sub 4% interest rates anytime in the near future. So I don't think we need to be concerned about that. What we do want to look at, though, is we have an opportunity right now to buy properties at the current market value. If that price goes up, obviously that property costs more to own. Obviously, the higher interest rate adds to our cost of ownership if you're financing the property. But in this case, you can have your cake and eat it too. So if you secure a property today at the current interest rate, if that rate drops or when it drops in the future, you always have the option to refinance that property to drop your monthly payment. And I think that's a great strategy. That helps you hedge against increasing prices, which the prices could still absolutely increase with current inventory levels, or at least stay the same. But another thing to think about that's real popular right now is to do a buy down on your interest rate, where you're going to buy, a point or so off of your interest rate to drop the rate with a one-time upfront payment. Sometimes you're getting the seller to do that. Sometimes you're coming out of pocket to do that. That may not be in your best interest if you're looking at refinancing that property when rates drop over the next couple of years, because that's only going to drop your rate for that period of time. So let's say you did a $10,000 buy down and you dropped your rate that was going to save you a couple $100 a month, but then in 2 years you refinance the property anyways. You never really got to see the full value or long-term value of that rate drop, and you actually would have been better off to just negotiate an additional $10,000 off the purchase price. On the seller side, I think the important thing to look at is there's definitely buyers out there that are looking to negotiate and looking for deals. But if you've got everything lined up, you've got all the proper marketing, and all of the pricing analysis has been done correctly, which is a big part of what I do. If you've got the right process and the right approach and the right strategy, you can still get top dollar. And as these numbers are showing, you can still get the best price for your property on Oak Island than you've ever been able to get. But you do want to be ready and prepared that it's going to take a little bit longer than it might have in past months or past years that we've seen in the market. Could it still sell immediately in one day? Absolutely, that is still happening. But you do want to be prepared for these market trends and averages and not get in a rush in selling your property, because that best buyer might come the first weekend, might come the second weekend, it might come the third or fourth weekend. But if you've done your research and you know the value of the property, then you can stick to your guns and hold out for the scenario that's going to get you the win. So that wraps it up for this monthly Oak Island real estate market update for October 2023. I hope you've enjoyed this video and gotten a few key pieces of information that can help you make informed decisions. If I can help you out at all, whether it's buying or selling real estate here on the North Carolina coast, just give me a shout, give me a text or a call, shoot me an email, and make sure that you go over to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to that channel so that you get notified of all the new videos that we put out, with monthly market update videos and also community lifestyle videos here along the North Carolina coast. Or be sure to go check out my blog on my website. I post everything there as well, so that you can stay in the loop and follow along each month as this market's changing, so that you can make informed decisions and know what's going up, what's going down, and where things are at. So again, I'm Brian Inskip with Surf Homes NC, and I'll see you on the next one.